Welcome to part 2 of our tour of the random encounters in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has these invisible hotspots all over the world where you can sometimes find randomly generated encounters. In our last video, I showed you dozens of them. I've been recording a lot of footage and I now have enough to show you dozens more. I'll only show you random encounters that I didn't already show you in my last video, so if you missed that one, you should go check it out here. The first hotspot we're going to visit today is near the Museum of Witchcraft, south of Salem. This random encounter is inside a boathouse on the beach. Sometimes you find the encounters in the boathouse, but often if they are wandering, they'll leave the boathouse and walk down the road. This day, I happened to stumble upon Gene, the guard dog salesman.
Hey there. You look like someone who could use a dog. Woman's best friend too, right?
Why are you selling her?
Oh, I don't want to. But I love dogs, and I gotta make a living somehow. So I raise them and sell them. I'm always blue for weeks after I sell one. But then I get myself a new puppy and start all over again.
He doesn't really want to sell his dogs, which is why if you hesitate or say no, he's actually okay with it.
I'll have to think about it.
Oh, that's fine. I sell dogs for a living, but I always hate to actually have to sell them. I will, though, if you change your mind.
I don't need a dog.
Oh, good. I didn't really want to sell her anyway.
But if you say yes, man, he makes you go through the ringer.
You've got a deal.
Oh, yeah? You sure? I mean, she's a great dog, don't get me wrong. I just don't want to sell her to anyone who isn't going to take good care of her.
Is your dog for sale or not?
Well, yes, but I just have trouble actually selling my dogs when it gets right down to it. I get kind of attached, you know?
It's up to you. You were the one who offered to sell me the dog, remember?
Yeah, I know. So I don't want to sell her to someone who won't take care of her. I'm sure you understand.
After reassuring the poor man that you're gonna take care of the dog, you have to pass a yellow speech check to actually buy it.
I'll take good care of her. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. You look like you won't eat her or anything. So, you really want to buy her?
How many different ways do you need me to say yes?
Yeah, I know. I don't actually end up selling a lot of dogs. I guess I'm not very good at selling dogs, but I just need a straight answer. Do you want to buy her or not?
Is there any paperwork you need me to fill out first? A list of references?
I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but I think you're making fun of me. Which is fine. I get that all the time.
Yes, I really want to buy your dog.
Okay. But you have someplace for her to live, right?
If you succeed, you can then send your junkyard dog to one of your settlements. It'll walk all the way to your settlement and contribute to that settlement's defense.
I guess that'll have to be okay. Okay, girl. This is your new owner. She's gonna give you a new home. Go on now. You be a good girl. Bye-bye. I gotta go. You take care of her, all right?
The next time you visit your settlement, you'll find your new junkyard dog guarding the place. Incidentally, this used to be the only way to get junkyard dogs before the Wasteland Workshop DLC. It costs 200 caps to buy one of these dogs, and I remember farming these random encounter hotspots just in the off chance that I would find Gene, because you can only buy one dog at a time from Gene. But Wasteland Workshop has pretty much made this encounter obsolete. Still, it's good to find such a kind-hearted soul in the Commonwealth, such as Gene. The next hotspot brings us east of County Crossing, in the middle of a big open area. Here, I found a random iBot pod. You get these with the Automatron DLC, and in fact you can find the schematics to build these in your settlements in the Mechanist's Lair. But Bethesda also added these to the random encounters, so let me show you how this works. You hop onto the terminal, and then you choose the kind of item that you want the iBot to go and scan for. Components, ammo, or explosives. Now this could suit many different needs, but in my opinion, one of the most rare items you can find in the game is a mini nuke. That and cannonballs if you happen to use the broadsider. You can use this iBot pod to go search for mini nukes and cannonballs anywhere out in the Commonwealth. You can also use it to search for rare scrap and rare explosives like nuke mines. The iBot leaves the pod and goes in search of your items. After a short time, you get a notification that the iBot was successful. It then tells you where you need to go to get the item, and it's usually at a pretty close location. In this case, it was the National Guard Training Yard, which is just north of where I am now. You can then go there there and loot your desired item. Pretty spiffy. Now this next random encounter hotspot is in downtown Boston, just outside the Mass Fusion building. Around one of the gunner barricades, you can often find the corpse of a junkie. On her body is the junkie's note. Dealer said there was a big stash of chems up at Lake Quannapowitt. Get them, and we'd be set for months. Or we could sell them and buy something stronger. This places Lake Quannapowitt on your map if you haven't discovered it already. The chems in question are actually underwater in the middle of the lake. This lake in particular is extremely irradiated due to all of the illegal nuclear material dumping done by Mass Fusion and possibly some of the other companies like General Atomics. You find the chest next to a sunken boat. I covered the story of this boat in my video on Lake Quannapowitt, which you can watch here. Inside the chest, sure enough, we find our stash of chems. Looting the chems completes the quest. Now sometimes if you're lucky, you'll stumble upon a random encounter location after having just made a game save. In situations like that, you can repeat that random encounter over and over and over again to get different encounters every time. I happened to find one just north of Westing Estate. This random encounter hotspot is right on the shore next to the water. So for the rest of this video, we're going to farm this location to see how many unique random encounters we can get. The first is really funny. It's one of my favorite in the game. We stumble upon an interesting conversation between two friends named Moss and Mikey.
Look, man, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I know what I'm talking about here.
Bullshit. You can't just put something between two pieces of bread and claim it's a sandwich. Does that mean a loaf of bread is technically a bread sandwich?
Technically, yes, but you wouldn't eat it all at once like that, so it doesn't matter. How you hold it matters.
Talk all you want, man. You put that piece of Mirelurk meat between two pieces of bread, but it still ain't a sandwich.
Well, what the hell would you call it then?
Disgusting. That's what.
Yes, this is what Wastelanders argue about 200 years after the nuclear apocalypse. What constitutes a sandwich? Although actually I do agree with Moss. I mean, if you put Mirelurk meat between two slices of bread, is that not a sandwich? You can find a lot of enemy encounters. If you have Automatron installed, you can find some mechanist robots. Nearby are the corpses of caravan guards and traders. This is even more sad evidence that the silly logic mistake that the mechanist made has proved fatal. Next, we find one wild mongrel next to the body of a scorpion.
This is what I'm talking about.
I found this one over and over again, and it was always the same. One mongrel, one dead scorpion, and 2 or 3 dead raiders. I guess we're supposed to assume that the scorpion attacked this small little raider camp. Maybe the mongrel was a raider pet. The raiders managed to whittle the scorpion down, but not before the scorpion killed them both. But the scorpion was so weak that the wild mongrel was able to finish it off. Or maybe the raiders and the scorpion killed each other and the wild mongrel just happened upon the scene. Maybe he was consuming them when you show up. Sometimes you'll find a group of synths. And around the campsite we find dead scavengers. I just want to point out that this is really the only major faction whose representatives we find as enemies in these random encounters that I've seen so far. We find gunners, raiders, scavengers, whom can all be hostile, but we never find any Minutemen. We never find any hostile railroad agents. We don't even find any hostile Brotherhood of Steel soldiers. But these Gen 1 synths murdered these scavengers. For what purpose? Well, possibly to steal the scrap that they had. How does that make them any different than mere raider thugs? Next, we find raiders and Mirelurk corpses. I guess these raiders managed to kill the Mirelurks, but I find that to be highly unrealistic. 2 Mirelurks could take down 2 raiders at any time. And we can find Yao Guai. These Yao Guai were devouring the corpses of scavengers when you arrive. There's an alternate version of this event where the scavengers are still alive when you arrive. If you kill the Yao Guai quick enough, you can leave the scavengers alive. When I did this, the scavenger got all paranoid. He started pointing his gun across the water. Well, it was then that I saw another bear on the opposite side of the river. I don't know if this bear was part of the same encounter or what, but both the scavenger and Preston freaked out. The bear eventually got too far away and everyone calmed down again. You can stumble upon an armed confrontation between a man and his wife and a third man.
Guys, please. You don't have to do this. You know me.
Quiet. You're annoying me, Synth. Don't come any closer, friend. This doesn't concern you.
Please, help. They're going to kill me.
Shut up.
What's going on here?
This thing's a synth. That's what. We've been traveling with it for weeks. But then today he finally let slip that he's an Institute errand boy. The whole fucking time.
Because I thought you were my friends.
I'd never be friends with a damn synth.
You already were friends with the synth. Now please, just let me go.
You think I'm stupid? You're just gonna run off and get your Institute buddies to come put us down. That ain't happening, pal.
I'm not with the Institute. I ran away. I just need to get to Bunker Hill. Then, I swear I will never bother you again.
Look, I'm sure we can work this out. No one has to die.
Fat chance. This synth has been watching us for weeks, knows everything about us. We let this thing go. How long before it comes back with its Institute buddies to put us down? Why the hell would we risk that?
Please. You believe me, right? You can't let them do this.
You can respond a number of ways. If you stay out of it, Fred just kills Jules.
This is between you folks. I'm not getting involved.
Please, don't go.
That's enough. Good riddance.
Or you can egg Fred on and encourage him to kill Jules.
You know what? You should kill him.
What? No!
Good riddance, synth. Damn sense. It had to be done. Show's over. Move along. Better place, with one less of his kind. Why don't you get out of here?
Good riddance. Oh, God. That thing watched us while we slept. He didn't seem like a bad guy. How about you move along? You got a problem? What if he was a spy? We just couldn't risk it.
You can try to be intimidating.
You're not killing anyone.
Says you.
And if you do, both Fred and his wife Angie turn against you.
Oh, God. Is it over?
Or you could even defend the Institute.
You don't need to be afraid of the Institute. You let him go, or I'll kill you both myself.
Like hell you will.
Which has the same result. If you decide to kill Fred and Angie, you can then talk to Jules to learn more about his situation.
Jesus. They're dead.
And you can kill him.
And now it's your turn.
Wait, what? Ah!
If you do, you do indeed find a synth component on his body. He is a synth. Or you can question him for more details.
What happened here?
It's like they said. I took up with them trying to make my way to Bunker Hill. They were the nicest folks I'd met outside the Institute, so I told them the truth. Last time I make that mistake.
If you choose this option, he rewards you out of the kindness of his heart.
I'm sorry. They didn't leave me any choice.
It's all right. I just wish they could have seen reason. Here, I want you to have this, for saving my life. Now, I just need to get out of here.
Or you can demand a payment.
Rescues don't come cheap. Pay up.
Oh, I guess that seems fair. Here, it's all I got. Thanks again, I guess. I just need to get out of here. Bunker Hill. I just have to make it to Bunker Hill.
The last two options are to try and reason with Fred and Angie. Either way, if you succeed, you get the same result.
If he was with the Institute, don't you think killing him would just make them madder? Let him go. It's safer that way.
Jesus. You're right. Fine.
You need to let him go. Think about it. If he meant to hurt you, wouldn't he have done it already?
I would never do that. You're my friends.
They got a point, Fred. He's had all the chances in the world to harm us. Maybe we should just let him go.
All right. But if I ever see you again, I'm putting one right between your eyes.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Just get the hell out of here. He was our friend. Why don't you get out of here? Show's over. Move along. Better hope I never see his face again. I was gonna do it.
God, gonna be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my days now. Good riddance. How about you move along? Hope this doesn't come back to bite us.
Thanks again. Here, I want you to have this. You saved my life.
Now, Jules kept saying that he wanted to go to Bunker Hill. He just had to get to Bunker Hill. And we know from our past lore videos exactly why. Patriot in the Institute is helping synths who want their own freedom to escape. Once they leave the Institute, they go to Bunker Hill where they meet up with Old Man Stockton, who brings them to the railroad. Clearly, that's what good old Jules here is trying to do. But I wanted to make sure that he was telling the truth, so I followed him to see where he went. And man, does he take you on a chase. He runs as fast as he can down the road, across the train tracks, past Diamond City, and as soon as he gets to the bridge leading to Cambridge, he slows down to a slow walk. This was infuriating. He walked the rest of the way there, over the bridge, and past the ruins of the CIT. He also annoyingly walked through enemies who attacked him. When he's attacked, he cowers in the corner until you defeat the enemy. But he then walks right through a number of really tough raider camps. This fight in particular took me about 5 minutes to finish, and I only managed to catch up with him because he attracted even more raiders and was hiding against a wall when I found him. However, after I killed these raiders, I lost him. But on a hunch that he was actually going to Bunker Hill, I raced to Bunker Hill first, hoping to find him when he arrived, and sure enough, after a little while of waiting, he walked right up the main steps to Bunker Hill, leaned against the wall, and began to smoke a cigarette.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is the second escaped synth that we've found in these random encounters. I showed one off in my last video. But there are 3 kinds of Gen 3 synths in the Commonwealth. The first are escaped synths like this who do not affiliate with the Institute. The second are, of course, coursers who go on missions for the Institute. And the third are synth imposters, where for some reason the Institute has decided to make a synth clone of another human being and replace that human being. We find that story told in a random encounter called Art vs. Art, which we'll cover in Part 3 of Random Encounters. You can stumble upon a chems vendor.
Hi.
Is it morning already? I got chems for sale if that's what you're looking for.
Bethesda doesn't give the sole survivor very intelligent dialogue for this.
You sell chems?
If you're asking whether I'll sell you my chems, the answer is yes.
And the chems vendor is sure to let you know that she noticed.
You sell chems?
I already said I did, didn't I?
Let's see what you have.
Alright, check it out.
She has some chems, but it's nothing terribly interesting. You can find a gassy guy.
Ooh, boy. You may want to keep your distance.
I'm just passing through.
Speaking of passing through, I think I ate a bad can of meat. Okay, maybe it was 3 cans. Seemed pretty tasty at first, but now it's got my guts all in a twist. And, well, you can probably smell it from there. Longneck Lukowski's canned meat my ass. Longneck Lukowski's canned poison, more like it. Here, have the rest of it. I'm never touching the stuff again as long as I live. Assuming I live through the day. Ugh. And if you happen to see that Lukowski, tell him I hope he dies in a goddamn fire. Oh, God. Sorry. Probably better if you get going. If it's anything like last time, it's about to get kind of messy. Hear that? Stomach's just been a churn since I ate that damn can of meat. I'll try not to barf again until you leave. But no promises. Sorry I'm not better company. I hope I'll be better soon. I'm really sorry about the smell.
Despite what he says, he doesn't actually give you any meat. He asked you to deliver a message from him to Theodore the next time you were at Longneck Lukowski's. However, if you go there immediately after this encounter, you don't get any new dialogue options. Sadly, you only get access to the quest that already comes with this location. Bethesda didn't work the 2 events together very well. And lastly, we find a man and his daughter.
If I see any more rad roaches, I'm going to stomp them flat.
I bet you will, honey. But you tell me first before you go chasing anything, you hear?
Daddy, do you like my dress?
Charlie, you look beautiful. Just like a princess.
Dad, can we leave a light on tonight? I like sleeping with the light on.
Sure thing, baby. I'll watch over you while you sleep.
I think we should get a dog. A big furry one that could scare off bandits but sleep next to me and keep me warm.
Yeah, that sounds great, Charlie. A dog it is.
Dad, I really miss Mom.
I know, kiddo. I miss her too.
This poor little girl missing her mother, and this poor man having to be both mother and father to this girl. He clearly loves her. He dotes on her and humors her, and he's wholly responsible for her. I can't imagine having that kind of burden in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. After a while, they stop talking to you, and so we can leave, wishing them health, safety, and long lives. And that brings episode 2 of Random Encounters to an end. I actually recorded a lot more footage that I didn't have time to put in this video. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I will publish episode 3 of Random Encounters in the coming days. So be sure to subscribe and click the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I do. What are your thoughts on these random encounters? Did any of these short stories connect some of the dots in Fallout 4 lore for you? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. I read all of my comments and I use them as inspiration for my future videos. And did you know that I have an Oxhorn t-shirt shop? You can get Oxhorn themed or even Fallout 4 themed t-shirts from my shop. If you want to check it out, you can reach my Teespring store by clicking on my t-shirt link in the description of this video. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad that you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with a brand new video.